is Thursday at 4 o'clock. As always, we're joined by the great Mike Mayock of SumerSports.com. That is S-U-M-E-R, Sumer Sports. What's up, Mike?
What's happening, fellas? How we doing?
Pretty good.
You know, Mike, just as a personal endorsement for Sumer Sports, I call these lovingly dork stats. But if you want a place to go find, every single stat under the sun, it's great for fantasy, I would agree. But if you want to see, how Jalen does under pressure, how many times they're in 11 formation, EPA per drive, success rate, all that sort of stuff that you hear all the time now, I think it's a great resource both for offense and defense, even if you're not using it for fantasy, just to learn about football. I think it's an absolute great site. I was telling Jack, I check it every single week when I look to see where everything is.
I've been with them pretty much since they started, and it's kind of crazy because NFL teams and college teams, especially, with that college portal coming up, we have 14 full-time college scouts just doing nothing but portal, which is completely different than what you just said, which is the fan that can sign up also.
Yeah.
So they're multi-level for this thing, and I appreciate it because I've watched them grow, and you know me, I'm kind of just a football guy. I'm not a business guy.
Yep.
But I've been impressed by how much it matters to them.
Well, and the last thing, they have this thing on there now called Sumer Brain, which is an AI thing that essentially you can just go in and ask it either for context on stats or a stat that you can't find, and it gives you the answer. And that part is only going to get better, I assume. So just an absolutely great site. Even learning the difference between those stats and being able to put it in context for me, it has been, if you're a fan that really, really likes football, and you mentioned that there are different applications, but from a fan perspective, it's absolutely great.
Thank you. That's all.
Yep. So, Mike, they win 31-0. The game felt clean. It felt like what they should have done. When you went back and watched it, is there as much reason to be optimistic from the tape itself as it is from the feeling walking away from the game?
I'm going to go back to my dad, the high school and college football coach, and what he used to say, because the older I get, the more I believe it, and that is, he used to say, you're never as good as you think you are or as bad as you think you are after a big win or loss. And I think that's true. And in this case, I think you used a good word, clean. I thought they were clean from an overall perspective in turnovers, 0. Penalties, cut them down to 3. If not their best effort, one of the best of the year. I thought on offense, the pass game was really efficient, especially play action, especially under center. Enjoyed that. And I thought defensively they played a really good game, both from an effort and technique perspective. The one piece that I know everybody's excited because they ran the ball for 183 yards, but, they averaged under 4 yards a carry. And when Barkley carries the ball, it's 3.5. And, again, I love the volume and I love the effort, but he's just not getting clean enough times. And to make it even worse, I only charted the first 32 plays because that's when Jalen and the first team offense was in the game. So the 32 runs in that, they had 6 negative runs of 32 against the poor team. And I give the Raiders, they've got some aggressive linebackers that come downhill hard and tough. But when a team does that, you got to make them pay for it in the play-action game. And the Eagles did some of that. So, Jack, I think your term clean is perfect everywhere except for the run game.
So let me ask, because the team is in a bit of a quandary here, and you mentioned under center, because I'm sure they're trying to do whatever they can to get the run game going, and under center does give them an advantage there. Mm-hmm. But if they're only going to, they had 4 or 5 passes under center and 25 or 26 runs under center. I know it's very hard to put a number on that, but are you able to sort of contextualize how much more they're going to have to pass under center to make teams respect that, so they're not going to just think, okay, they're under center, they're going to run the ball?
Yeah, to put numbers to it, and again, this was only when the first team was in. I didn't care as much when they weren't. But they were under center 17 of 32 runs. Okay, so plus or minus 50%, and I like that kind of balance. I thought they threw the ball really well under center. Play action, naked bootleg. A couple times you couldn't even find the Raiders linebackers because they were coming downhill so hard and fast trying to tackle Saquon. So they're all that's really good, but it's against a poor football team. Balance, I think, is the important thing. And what I liked about their pass game outside of play action, they're in bunch more. I think they're making things a little more difficult from a route perspective for the defenders. I think the ball went mostly on time to the receiver. It should have gone. Goddard got fed a little more because, as I said, the play action was pretty easy, and the underneath stuff was wide open. But for getting under center, I mean, they threw the ball. They got 2 defensive pass interferences, and that ball should have gone where it went both times. One was A.J. Brown, and one was the young kid Cooper, and they went 2 for 2 on DPIs, one-on-one routes, press versus fade, or fade versus press, excuse me. The A.J. Brown touchdown pass, beautiful route, all on time, right where it needed to be. I thought the out and up to Devontae, again, I like the call on first down. I like the route, and he put it right where we're supposed to be. I just thought efficient and clean, harder to defend. I think all those things are good. I think they're trending in the right direction there.
Yeah, it was almost one of those games that you take into account the opponent, but you don't. You almost still have to feel good that they played the clean game that they played, and it wasn't a 17-9 game. We'd all be upset this week, even if they won 17-9. We would not be happy. So I think as a fan, I can feel a lot better coming out of that game with them just taking care of business. Mike, what do you? The defense. This defense continues to impress. Again, take the opponent into account, but from an individual standpoint, Jalix Hunt, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, I mean, outstanding games they had. Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, just in every game seemingly, no one throws the ball his way. You think they're playing at that championship level that they need to play going into the postseason?
Ike, I think they're getting there.
Yeah.
Let's not forget there was a debacle on Thanksgiving afternoon.
That's true.
and it's been 2 really good efforts since then. So I think they're trending in the right area. I love the Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, Jalen Phillips combination on the outside. Ultimately, a return of Jalen Carter would really help, both in the run and the pass game. But those 2 linebackers are playing at a really high level. And what I really like, and I don't mean to gloss over Brandon Graham. He's doing a great job inside and out, and it gives them some flexibility they didn't have before they re-signed him, which is proving to be a really good sign. But I also think, like, in the defensive backfield, we knew how good Quinyon was, and he's getting better. We knew how good Cooper was, and he's getting better. What I really like, is that nobody talks about Adoree Jackson and what's going on the other side anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
He's been solid. And that's all I'm going to say, solid. He's not a Pro Bowl player, and he's not anything more than solid. And he's doing a nice job with what they ask him to do. Marcus Epps, he's stepping in. You want to talk about some run fits and some things he did out of the safety position last week? Really positive. That's not an easy thing to do, is to step in and play quickly like he did. And, Blankenship is always solid. So I think the defense is getting where it needs to be, Ike. And you got 3 weeks left, in the regular season. And it's time to just really professionally take care of business every week. And, not just with the Buffalo game.
Yep.
So you mentioned taking care of business. Saturday is the Commanders. Now the Commanders are 4-10. They are, I would imagine, they're not the Raiders. They're 4-10, but they seem more competent. What is there to worry about, if anything, against the Commanders? Eagles I know have to worry about themselves, but is there anything Commanders-wise we have to worry about?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things. And more than anything, just as a general snapshot of the 2 games left, I don't think you want them to get even a scent of victory. They're one of the oldest teams in the league, and what you really want is you want them concentrating on where their vacations are going to be by the second quarter. So, and Ike's laughing because he knows. Right? There's a lot of veterans on that team.
Well, Mike, Ike is thinking about vacation right now. We actually have to keep him in line here, so he gets it on both levels.
I don't want to overdo this point, but I think it's real. Like a lot of young teams with rookies with something to prove, it's one thing. You got them 2 of the last 3 games. You might as well put your foot down early.
Yep.
But from a pure personnel perspective, they're 4-10. They haven't had their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, but this is still the guts and nucleus of a team that went to the NFC Championship game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Marcus Mariota, I signed him to the Raiders. He was our backup, and he played 1 or 2 games and when he had to play for Derek Carr, and he played at a high level. And he's also very similar play style to Jaden Daniels. He can hurt you with his legs as well as his arms. So is he Jaden Daniels? No, I'm not trying to say that. But he's a reasonable facsimile and can cause a lot of problems with his legs. I think defensively, again, they're pretty old on defense. And, you got some guys like defensive ends, Von Miller, Preston Smith, both in their 30s. Frankie Louvu at linebacker, Bobby Wagner. Those 2 linebackers are flat-out ballers. Mm-hmm. And you don't want those guys getting fired up to beat. And they're going to come in with an attitude. I believe that. So do I think Washington can be a problem? Yes, I do. And I think the way to alleviate that problem is to come out with an incredible amount of intensity and physicality.
All right, Mike, thank you as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, brother.
Guys have great holidays.
You too,
Yeah,
Mike.
too.
There he is, the great Mike Mayock.